And we are back. In studio with me is Michelle Donashrod. She is an attorney, a different kind of attorney. She specializes in the collaborative process divorce. That means that you're going to sit down at the table with both parties and we're going to come to an amicable agreement. And wait a minute, I forget we're doing a live radio program in here. I'm having a conversation with her off the air, and we're just, doing the thing. You have an 18-year-old, a 20-year-old, and a 22-year-old. I'm telling you, she look about 27. I'm going to tell her mama she having sex with people and got 3 babies. Do your mama know you got 3 babies and they grown? That is amazing. And we were talking during the break, because when you're talking about divorce, usually, especially when children are involved, we hear about the children, and nobody ever talks about the friends in the divorce, because we're hurt as well, because we want to take sides. If I'm your friend and you're getting a divorce, we want to go find his head and chop his head off and put him in a plastic bag. You know the difference between a good girlfriend and a great girlfriend? Do you know
what is the difference?
The difference between a good girlfriend and a great girlfriend. A good girlfriend, I'm going to call you up, Michelle, I done bashed his head. He landed the floor. I think he did. You're like, girl, I'm your attorney. Don't touch nothing. I'm coming. Don't touch anything. I'll be there. A great girlfriend, Michelle, I done bashed his head in. I think he did. Girl, I'm coming with the plastic bag and the shovel. I want to be the great girlfriend, but I want to bash his head in. And most of the time, when we hear about children in a divorce, they see the ugly. And children, is in the collaborative process divorce, how are the children protected in this?
Each case is unique, and when the children, when it's appropriate, we have child specialist. Child specialist looks at from the child's point of view and talks to the children or the child, see what they're going through, and helps the parents come up with solution that takes care of what the children need.
And this is do they talk to the children and both parents?
The child specialist, yes. The child specialist is there
to bring in a child specialist.
Yes. Yeah. And so depending on what every case needs, we do have the specialists who are trained collaboratively, because we work as a team. And so we get to be able to educate with the help of the mental health professionals and the collaborative lawyers, educate them. What are they dealing with? So we can have solutions and agreements that addresses responsibly all those needs.
Because, the kids are like, well, that's mommy, that's daddy, and they feel like, a lot of times they feel like they have to pick sides. So the child specialist comes in to teach them and train them and guide them that they don't have to pick sides.
Yeah. I just had a conversation with one of our mental health professionals, and he's a coach in our team because he went through his parents' divorce, and he was absolutely devastated and impacted.
Now, was he a child or was he an adult?
No, he was a child at the time. So we're there because we want to be responsible for what. But then when you are going through your own divorce, you can't see everything. You can't. You're in survival mode.
Right.
And we can't make wise decision when we're in survival mode.
Because that's what we're doing. We're trying to survive.
Yes.
And are you also in survival mode and in fighter mode? And as a collaborative divorce attorney, do you take them out of that fighter mode and that survivor mode, or do you keep them in survival mode so that everybody survives this and comes out of this with some sense of dignity, some sense of respect?
No, this is the party's problem. And what happens is fighting is an aspect of survival mode. So you either fight, freeze, right?
Or you run away.
Right, very good. Fight, flight, or freeze, right?
Okay.
Those 3, right? Those are the different aspects of survival. What we do, we deal with all those emotional issues properly, so then they can now be able to think clearly by focusing on their future, by letting go of the past, to be willing to have a new future, to have conversations.
So there's a lot of, listening to what you're saying, there really is a lot of hand-holding and hugging and interpersonal relationships that you develop with your client. And by each client being different, how as a as a human being, as a mom, do you keep your focus and keep your feelings out of this because you've gone through this yourself? How are you able to keep yourself stabilized as a human being when you see people going through this?
By being centered and confident in my client's ability, and confident in the process, and by working together with the team. Because one of us may say forget it, but with the team support we come back and we're there.
Are there
It's
times
a
when
commitment.
because as the attorney, are there times when you go, you know what, I really don't know if I can deal with this client, and that's where the team comes in. You talk to the mental health professional. They're not dealing with this on a financial level, and can your team go into a room, sans the client, and go, okay, we got to figure this out. Sometimes you get in the room and you guys have to battle it out amongst yourself for the good of the client.
I think it's important to understand the client and really understand what's underneath. What is the interest? What is it they really want? And with that communication, they understand what they really want. We don't even know what we want until we have that inquiry. So when you understand the client, there is no problem. It is not like I can't deal with this person.
Okay.
It's more like, what is this person dealing with? What does this person want? What is he committed to? And when you understand them, then they don't have to try. If they're being difficult, it's because you're not listening to them.
You mean as an attorney?
As an attorney.
Okay. So if they're like, okay, Michelle, you're not hearing me. I'm trying to figure this out. Now, how long has the collaborative process divorce been going on? When did this start?
This started with an attorney named Stu Webb in Minneapolis.
Hey, Stu Webb in Minneapolis.
About 30 years ago.
Really?
Yes.
How come we're just finding out about this? Because every time you hear about divorce, it's either really, really nasty and it's ugly and it's drawn out. I had never, ever heard, well, mostly because nobody in my family ever got divorced, and even when they did get divorced, they never moved out from each other. They were like, well, I live here and I'm not moving, and then they always go back together. So we in my family and in my husband's family, we just have never gone through this.
It wasn't an option.
It just was no, divorce was not an option. They'll die first before they'll leave you. Yeah. And so when they say we will be married till death parts us, that's how everybody in our family who's been married, death parted them. And so, but there are so many people in this country who are getting married, getting divorced, and you see how ugly and vicious it can get. And we're talking about private and in public. I was talking about Usher and the situation that he's going through. How bad does it get, with divorce? And what is your ratio of getting your success rate of making sure that everybody comes out whole in the collaborative process divorce?
Well, the success, we haven't done.
How long have you been doing this?
For 2 years.
Okay.
Right. And so if we want to look at collectively, the range is between 90 to 95% of success rate. But if you want to look at the different practices, as I said, it works when the attorneys are being collaborative, really.
And that's everybody on the team.
Yes. So when it's done the right way, it works. And when and there is an interview to make sure this is the right fit, that the parties are willing to play the game of collaborative process with the rules.
Now, how long does that process last? Because, when you talk about litigation, that could go on and on and on. So is the collaborative process divorce a shorter process?
Absolutely, it's shorter. It is a shorter process. And it really does depend on the parties and what their issues are and what their needs are. It's by as many meetings as required, and whatever work is required to complete it. But it is definitely shorter than a litigation.
And now, do you only do divorces?
I do divorces only, but my team, we have civil collaborative attorneys on my team to do the civil part.
Now, who would come to you for a civil part?
Well, as I said, people who are going through business dissolutions, or they have probate issues, or even some medical malpractice cases are really good to be handled in a collaborative divorce, because like doctors, sometimes they don't know how to relate to the patients, and patients who go through medical malpractice, they're very upset by the way they were treated. In the collaborative process, there is the apology and forgiveness aspect that's possible. That really helps both parties, and the doctor can learn how to, in the process they develop how to communicate, how to respect, that maybe they haven't gotten that training through medical school.
And maybe they should.
Yes.
Because, they talk about, we've heard many times about a doctor's bedside manner, and now it seems to have completely dissipated. I remember one of my friends went into the hospital, and she had a malpractice suit against a major hospital back in Ohio. She went in to have a particular surgery, and they ended up amputating her leg from the hip down, and there was nothing wrong with her leg.
Oh my God!
And she didn't know what to do. She went to an attorney. She got $1 million lawsuit, but she didn't have a leg, so now she's completely disabled because she doesn't have a leg. So that would have been some place for like a collaborative.
Absolutely, because you can have no leg, but you can have a complete life by being complete about it. It is really a perspective about what you have.
Yeah, she totally gave up on life. She's like, I don't have no leg, my love. I'm in a wheelchair. I'm like, your mouth is working, your brain is working. Quit sitting in this box. And we've been trying to get her out, but that's her life.
I've seen someone with no arms and completely no arms, who is more alive and more active than most people I've met.
And it makes us look like such whiners and such wusses. I met a guy, I read his book, and this was a guy, he was born with no legs, he was born with no arms, and he had, his one little arm was just a hand that he couldn't use. And this guy, just like you said, he was more alive and had more life into him. And every time I read his book, I keep it at the ready for me. Every time I look at him, I'm like, you better shut your whining behind up. Now, how can people get in touch with you, Michelle, if they're going through a divorce? And what would you advise them on if they're going through a divorce? First, call you.
Okay.
And how can they get
in touch? Well, they can go to www.completionlawfirm.com. They can go to sfvcp.com, San Fernando Valley Collaborative Professionals. That's our group. They can call me at 818-991-0519.
And make sure that you don't have to go through an ugly divorce. You don't have to go through an ugly dissolution. There's a great way for you to come out of this and feel whole and feel alive, not just for you and your children, but all of those around you that you love. Michelle, there's so many other questions that I have, and we've run out of time. I thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy day to come and share this wonderful information that people don't have to go through the ugly. They don't have to go through the pain. There's somebody there, and she's willing to hold your hand. Her team is willing to get you through it and guide you through it. And it's the collaborative process divorce, whether it's your marriage, your business, or whatever.
Thank you so much.
It has been my distinct honor and pleasure, and may the universe continue to open up and conspire for you and your firm's great success and all those children you have. She looked about 15 years old, got 3 grown cheering. I love it, I love it, I love it. And we'll be back after this.